Now, Amitabh, I want to ask you, the CSDS data clearly shows that both among Dalits and Muslims, the Maha Vikas Aghadi lost support. The number of Muslims and Dalits who voted for them in the Lok Sabha did not move in the same way in the assembly elections. How do we understand that? Do we, especially the Muslim vote, right? Uh, how do we understand? One factor is the women factor. So the women vote transcended religious divides. But why did the Dalit vote, according to you, move back, as it were, to the BJP led alliance? And how do we explain the loss in Muslim vote? We also know that in many seats where the Muslim population was about 25%, the turnout had decreased as well. So there was a lack of enthusiasm among Muslim voters for the MVA. Why is that?
See what happens that in a Lok Sabha election, the others got only 12% vote share, while historically others have got on an average 25% vote share in Maharashtra. So there were a lot of contenders for the Muslim vote, smaller parties. AIMIM, Samajwadi Party had an alliance, but it contested on a much higher number of seats. Then you had a new party called as Islam. And then if you see on 157 seats, the number of Muslim candidates were more than one, which contested. So there was a split of Muslim votes. Then similarly for Dalits, if you see the Dalit voter is not shifting to BJP. Actually, BJP or Mahayuti also is receiving 1% lesser support, but it is moving towards parties like VBA or a BVA or PJP or a RSP, etc., etc. And if you see this time, what has happened is that this constitution change off the cuff mark of Rahul Gandhi has actually reached every nook and corner of Maharashtra. And
In Lok Sabha. Why didn't that work here?
no, in Vidhan Sabha, it was the opposite. The
Correct.
constitution remark of made in Washington, I think perhaps, has reached every nook and corner of Maharashtra in Vidhan Sabha election. And thanks not to BJP, thanks to Prakash Ambedkar's VBA. VBA has ensured that this reaches every nook and corner of Maharashtra because if you see his speeches and his rallies, he was clearly targeting the Maha Vikas Aghadi in this election, perhaps not happy at not being included in the alliance. So a mix of all these factors perhaps has led to this.
What does this mean for national politics? Because you see, if you look at some of these trends, it actually means that the Congress's idea of bringing Dalits, OBCs, and Muslims. You see, the Congress went big on caste census in pursuit of the OBC vote. The Congress went big on the constitution in pursuit of the Dalit vote. And the Congress has assumed that the Muslim vote will always come to it. The Maharashtra elections upend some of these assumptions. What does this do to strategy, to political strategy, to our understanding of politics?
No, see, first of all, one cannot have a one-fits-all strategy for all states. Now, if you see the caste census pitch is actually very intriguing and might have been harmful for MVA in the Lok Sabha, in the Vidhan Sabha elections. Because if Marathas get reservation, it will come at the expense of whom? It will come at the expense of OBCs because there is a cap on 50%. Even if you say that we'll come and remove this cap, state governments cannot do this. People understand this. More so when the Maratha reservation thing has been turned down by the Supreme Court twice. So people are aware of this, that there is a cap, only central government can do it. And if they get reservation, which Manoj Jarange Patil has said, that in whatever form, we should get reservation. Correct. But then it will come at the cost of OBCs. If Maratha get reservation, it could even come at the cost of Kunbis, who are Marathas but already OBCs. So this pie is small. If you bring more players into this pie, you are disturbing the entire social equation. Second is the Dalits. Now Dalits, the change of constitution was not the original or the main reason. It was plain blank that if BJP comes to power, they will end reservation. Correct? Change of constitution, will lead to the end of reservation. Now, people have seen that the BJP does not have the numbers to end reservation. It is relying on Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu largely in power. So this rhetoric or this narrative did not work because they are not in a position to change the constitution. And bread
Yeah.
and butter issues were not focused on. If I was on one of the channels and one of the research heads of Congress party had come. So when I asked that, why was Rahul Gandhi raising all these issues of Adani, constitution, caste census? These are national issues, does not matter. He said, I mean, national leaders will raise national issues. But then I said, who raised the local issues? Because the
Yeah.
local leadership was busy fighting who will be CM, or was busy fighting which party will get how many tickets till 29th of October. From 29th
Yeah.
to 4th, they were busy on cajoling the rebels to drop out from the race. And then just 2.5 weeks before the election, you announce your manifesto promises, and none of them were new. So all these promises were standard promises. So why were they not released just like Karnataka one by one many months before the elections? Because all of these promises were standard promises which Congress party is making across states.
Yeah. But talking about this Adani issue, it's quite interesting. You see, in the previous Lok Sabha, 2019, if you remember, Rahul Gandhi was kind of focused on the Rafale issue, and it didn't translate into any palpable success. This time, the Congress is so focused on the Adani issue, right? It is such a big part of their social media narrative, but it's not connecting to the everyday lives of voters. So, was the Congress campaign too esoteric?
Yeah, because again, see, campaigns are stories. You're just
Yeah,
telling one side of it. Let's say, for example, a particular corporate group, as mentioned by in the US, has bribed some of the state governments in the country. Let's say it's true. How does it impact the life of you and me? The Congress
yeah,
is not able to tell this story.
yeah,
That because of perhaps these bribes, what is happening is that your electricity rate is going up, perhaps, or the price of this is going up, or the price of tickets are going up, flight tickets are going up because the airport charges are increasing. The Congress party is not completing the story. It is not explaining to the voters how does this alleged Adani Modi or Adani BJP nexus impact us, negatively impacts us. It's not able to tell that story. It is the second leg of the story. It is just telling one part of it. And people are like, how does it impact us?
Finally, a lot has been said about the fact that the BJP made a strategic calculation this time to not overuse the prime minister, neither in Maharashtra nor before that in Haryana. The BJP seems to have decided to limit the exposure, very different from earlier assembly elections where it was double engine. Modi was an equal face of the campaign to the local BJP face. How does this, what is your takeaway from this shift in strategy?
So see, if you see Haryana,
Hmm.
all the prominent reasons for the anger against the BJP, which was the farmer
Yeah.
protest, the wrestler protest, and the Agniveer protest, were not the undoing of the state government. They were all undoings of perhaps the central government. So that is what the state leadership was able to convince the voters, that don't focus on these issues. These issues we do not have our control. It is not our fault. And Modi, by not doing a lot of rallies, I think he did only four, clearly took a back step, because if he would have campaigned a lot more, all these issues would have gathered momentum, and that
Hmm.
may have negatively impacted the campaign. Similarly, in Maharashtra, when we were discussing about those two regions, again, those central government policies also have a lot of role in that. I mean, Maratha agitation, okay, Maratha reservation, if it has to be given or the cap has to be increased, the central government has to play a role, has to play a part. So again, most of the anger was against the central government, the inflation, uh, Adani, Ambani, let's say, Nexus, etc. So again, he has taken a back step. But I would say it is smart strategy. I mean,
Mhm.
as a leader, you need to identify your strengths and weaknesses. He has identified that these pitches were perhaps tricky for him to come out and open the innings. Let the local leadership open the innings, and when your bench strength is strong, like BJP, they themselves have been able to carry the party to victory. Also, it helps to now build the local leadership. Now, BJP has moved from a presidential style campaign to a hyper local campaign, talking about micromanagement,
Hmm.
local contest, hyper local contest. But this is good for the BJP in the sense that if you have to find the successor of Narendra Modi in the next 5 years, then you need to find people from this from amongst these state elections, and some of these leaders could emerge. So the second line of leadership, which was weakened under the leadership of Modi, will again the party is again trying to rebuild this over the next 5 years by focusing on hyper local campaigns.